Time for a couple of holy mackerel stories in today's news. Osama Bin Ladden has issued a new statement on the occasion of the anniversary of 9/11. It's an audio tape. It's about 11 minutes long, and it is directed at the American people. Frankly, it's the usual denunciations of the American government and Israel and the American government's relationship with Israel. And there is a suggested reading list, which I'm sure Americans are just desperate to get to. Boy, howdy, if there's someone I want intellectual advice from, it's this guy. But what is perhaps the most important thing about this tape is that Osama bin Laden in the tape specifically criticizes President Obama for retaining some people from the Bush administration. He names Robert Gates, Defense Secretary, General David Petraeus, head of U.S. Central Command, and Admiral Mike Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. This is an important detail about this tape only because if the tape is in fact bin Laden, and there's no indication that it isn't, this means that the tape is confirmation that Osama bin Laden is either still alive now, or at least that he has been at some point since the start of the Obama administration about 8 months ago. So the headline, bin Laden apparently still alive and still screaming incoherently into the wind. Our second holy mackerel story tonight is a coincidence, presumably arranged by the news timing gods, so we could cover a whole lot of bad behavior all at once in politics large and small. You will recall that last year, an Iraqi journalist threw his shoes at President Bush during a press conference in Baghdad with Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. The shoe thrower, a man named Muntadar al-Zayida, excuse me for my pronunciation, was convicted back in March of assault, and he was sentenced to 3 years in jail. That sentence was then reduced to 1 year, and then he was scheduled to be released today, 3 months early, for good behavior. According to Iraqi officials, a paperwork delay has pushed his release to tomorrow, at which point the shoe thrower is expected to receive a hero's welcome in Iraq, complete with banners and a party and more job and marriage offers than anyone could take up in a lifetime. Good behavior among the unincarcerated in the U.S., however, has been in short supply recently. Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina got the ball rolling last Wednesday when he interrupted the president's speech to Congress by calling the president of the United States a liar. Over the weekend, a star athlete and a musical giant picked up the ball and got it rolling faster, straight downhill. On Saturday, during the U.S. Open women's tennis semifinals between Serena Williams and Kim Clijsters, Williams was called for a foot fault as Clijsters approached the brink of victory. Serena, apparently justifiably, did not like the foot fault call, and then she let the offending line judge know of her displeasure in quite hard-to-justify terms. Ms. Williams was penalized a point for poor sportsmanship, and that point gave the match to Clijsters. Williams was also fined $10,000 for her bad behavior. Today, the tennis star did two things to make amends. First, she issued her second apology since the incident, saying she was wrong and that she handled herself inappropriately. And then, well, then she and her sister Venus went on to win the U.S. Open doubles title. Sunday's installment of Bad Behavior by Public Figures Theater featured the rapper Kanye West, singer Beyonce Knowles, and country star Taylor Swift at the MTV Video Music Awards. Ms. Swift beat out Ms. Knowles and others in the category of Best Female Video. Mr. West lived out the credo that if you don't have anything nice to say, say something really obnoxious and mean.
So thank you so much for giving me a chance to win a VMA award.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
I wonder if it was a stunt. In any case, news timing gods, thank you for a coincidence-filled week in bad behavior from everyone who traffics in stuff that was on TV. And finally, Texas Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison is running against incumbent Rick Perry in the Texas Republican gubernatorial primary. In an opinion piece published yesterday in the Washington Post, Senator Hutchison expressed her outrage, I tell you, about all the manufactured controversy surrounding experts that President Obama has named to advise him on complicated issues, just as other presidents have done as well. The op-ed says in part, quote, "A few of them have formal titles, but most are known simply as czars. They hold unknown levels of power over broad swaths of policy." The problem here is that that's not at all true. You can actually Google these folks. They do actually have job titles. Just because you don't know that the drug czar's real job title is Director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, and you instead therefore call him the drug czar, doesn't mean that drug czar is his formal title. Just because you don't know someone's name, Senator, doesn't mean that his formal name is that guy, okay? Okay.